Greetings, guys. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Monette. This is my channel, Evolve with Monette. For those of you that are new here, I am a professional intuitive empath. It's so good to share energy with you. Come on in. Thank you for inviting me in today. Guys, if you're guided to work with me, you can find my information in the description box. When I say guided, I want you to feel it in your heart. I want it to tug on you. I want confirmation from your angels. Is there an angel number? Was there a song? What made us connect? And when we do, we'll talk about that too. I love that for you if you're guided to. Let's get into the video today. When the spell is broken. When the spell is broken. There is a lot of talk in these tarot YouTube streets and in the metaphysical world about spell work and love spells, right? And I've told this story here before, but I painted murals at one point in my life in my 20s, and I was painting at I always call it it was Botanica. Yeah. Not a bodega, but a Botanica, which is like a shop that an Orisha would have where they sell the penis candles and the yoni candles and all the love spells and the oils and all that stuff. Anyway, I watched people come in and out and buy the stuff, and I was dating a guy at the time, and I was like, he's mighty fine. I want him to be mine. And I thought, I'm going to buy one of these penis candles. So at the end of the day, after I was finished painting, I went and I was like, hey, Orisha, I'm going to buy one of these penis candles. And she was like, no, you're not. You have a calling on your life, and you don't know how this works, and you're not supposed to touch this stuff. So she saw in me before I even got here and knew who I was going to be. She knew, and she told me, amongst the other people, but she was like, no, this is not for you. And she said, this is how love spells work. And I was very upset because I was like, but you sell them to everyone else. And she was like, yeah, but it's not for you. In a way, now I think about it and look back, she was very much looking out for me spiritually. And I'm grateful because it was such a poignant lesson. For the next 20 minutes, she taught me about love spells and how they go bad and why they go bad and why I did not want to put a love spell specifically on the person I'm dating. I was dating someone who was much older than me. He was a mentor of sorts and a really interesting man, and I just was head over heels. I loved him. And she was like, you're not going to feel this way. She was also psychic in her own way. In a few years, do not put this love spell on him. I promise you. You're not going to want him the same way. It's not going to feel the same, whatever. You know, you couldn't tell me anything, but I did listen to her, and I did not buy that candle, nor did I do that love work, because I was like, I don't know what she's talking about, but I don't want to find out. For whatever reason, she shook me. It was almost like a scared straight for spiritualist. I was like, okay, I guess I won't do that. But what it taught me now that I do this work is how much you don't want to do that, even though people do it every day. Well, here's the thing. You may not know when someone buys one of those candles and puts it on you or does the work and anoints it in oil and scratches your name into it. There's a lot of steps, right? What she told me that day specifically is that it backfires, where it makes the person that you're putting the love spell on resent you. They will hate you and they won't even understand it. Not immediately, but eventually. They will be like, why can't I stand the sight of this person? Why am I repulsed? And she said in some worst case scenarios that the men that it gets put on, like if someone's doing, there's a lot of things. I don't even want to give you guys tips and tricks on it, but there's stuff you do with food, there's stuff you do with candles, whatever the case may be. She was like, if you do this work without consent, like without someone's consent, because the guy that I was with actually wanted to do it with me because we were both kind of that into each other. But she was like, if you do, he'd spent like a lot of time, he was a traveler, he was a sea captain, and he spent a lot of time in Africa and in Haiti and stuff like that. So he was very comfortable with the rituals. Okay, let's just say that, even though he was a Caucasian white man from Scotland. But, you know, to each his own. So he was definitely a soulmate assignment for sure. But in any case, she said, if you do this, unbeknownst to whomever, they will have this murderous rage potentially with you and on you, where they could unalive you. You know, that's what we say here on the YouTube streets, but you understand what I'm saying. They could unalive you because it goes that far where someone might feel caged and they have all this passion, but it's not passion of love anymore. It's passion of rage. And then that's where we have what they call it. There's like a delineation in the court, in the justice system for that. Crimes of passion, right? She said she said many of the crimes of passion are born from people that had love work put on them or that did love work. So she scared me straight. I never bought the candles and never did the things. So that happens. And I go on in life, and then I end up doing the spiritualist work. And I've had people ask me to put spells on people and all the rest of it. And I don't do that. That's just not what I do. My work is really grounded in Christianity, honestly, or God. Even though I've unlearned a lot of the dogma and the indoctrination, I still believe in free will. And if God gives us a choice to say, I'm going to serve you or not, and angels give us a choice to say, I'm going to interact with you and listen to you when you say, fear not, when they're dispatched in, then why would I want to overexert my free will onto someone, no matter how attracted I am to them? So no love spells do I do, but I want to teach you how you can know that a love spell has been put on you. Because it's going to be in how you feel. Even if they don't call you up and say, I just scratched your name into the candle and blah, 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 right? Or I just whatever. It'll be in the way at some point in the connection that you feel absolutely repulsed and unattracted to them. Now, in the end of all relationships, you may feel like I'm not attracted anymore, I lost attraction, or it's waned, or whatever. I'm not talking about that. That's very normal. That is par for the course in all relationship dynamics that unfold. I'm talking about a feeling of like, I don't even want you around me. It's like it's almost like I can't stand you. It's almost like why am I here? It's like you wake up. It's like you wake up and you're being held captive at a Diddy party. That's how you'll feel. Like, how did I get? What is it? What are you? Why am I? It's like very dramatic. Okay. Now, I mentioned this in one of my videos that I posted today, and that's why I said I'm going to come on here and do some other videos for you today, because I wanted to talk to you about this. But I think in my life, I've maybe 2 to 3 times, I think someone has tried to put work on me, not including the guy that I was with, where he wanted to mutually do the work, meaning he wanted us both to like be bound to each other. So, and he did work on me anyway, so that was a whole other thing, unfortunate for him, but because I left. Just like she said, even though I didn't understand it at the time, years later, I was like, okay, we did this. We did it. I graduated. We're done. But it had run its course, as soulmate relationships do. That's the thing. That's a cautionary tale about soulmate relationships. They're here to teach you too. They're not as tumultuous as your twin, but they're not always forever and ever amen either. You need to be very okay with that. I need to understand that. So I did, and that was one of my first lessons of like, things end, things end. Even when you love someone, I had great love for him, still to this day, my favorite soulmate of all the soulmates. So, but I knew that a few people had done the work because of how I felt at some point at the end of the relationship. Not immediately at the end, but somewhere near the end, I would wake up just so disgusted with them and so turned off by them and so never wanting to see them or talk to them. Now, I have exes I still talk to. I have exes that I'm still friendly with that have spun blocks and have reached out, and I don't refuse it. I don't hate them. It's not the end of the world. But when people have put work on me, whether they think I know or not, the way that I feel and is just beyond distraught. It's like I could crawl out of my skin. I would chew my own arm off to get away from them. And that's not a feeling that I have with everyone. And that's how I discern that work. Now you're like, what do you mean, Monette? Well, what if my person would not even know about that kind of spiritual work? Well, first of all, everybody has a YouTube, everybody has fingers, and everybody knows how to work our good sis Google, okay? Every single one of us. But just in case they don't, just in case they're not in the metaphysical streets in the YouTube world, that's fine. But spell work is not always about the candle and the this and the that or the food. It's about maybe pulling cards on you repeatedly, maybe obsessing about you to whatever degree, maybe wishing death to your other relationships or connections, that you'll never be happy or sleep with someone else or love someone else or whatever, because very much you've heard it said on all the true crime, where are my true crime girlies, on all the true crime we consume, if I can't have you, no one else can have you. Well, that happens to a lesser degree with spirituality and metaphysical energy too. you. So people get very like, well, if you weren't going to stay with me, then I don't even want to see you happy with anybody else. So then they start wishing that on you, and they might light a candle about it, even if they don't scratch into it or do anything. They might light a candle about it. They could have voodoo dolls. People do all this weird shit, and you can get a voodoo doll off of Etsy, y'all. This is very much more accessible than it used to be. You can make them, you can get them, you can watch a tutorial about them. I'm not trying to teach you, I'm just trying to say, do not underestimate the people from whom you've walked away, okay? This is far more accessible. And here's what I learned. I was like, nobody's really doing this. Like, I worked at that, Botanica for those couple weeks painting that mural, and I saw all kinds of people come in. High society people, doctors and lawyers, and people getting off work still in their medical scrubs, like teachers, like just normal people, judges. All kinds of people were in that shop. That's why I was like, well, if everyone else in the whole county is in here buying this, why can't I get it? Well, it wasn't for me. But I'm telling you, people that you would not think that you would greatly underestimate are in there on that nonsense, talking about some we gonna be betrothed forever, come to me spells this, that, and the fifth. Just saying. So even if they're not doing that, there is no ritual for them to go to, I will tell you, they could just be highly fixated on you. They could be obsessed with you to a certain degree. They could want you to stick around, and they could want to continuously siphon your energy. And then maybe, at the very least of it all, they could just never want you to be properly free from them, to go explore and enjoy your new reality, a new partner, or any of that. You will know that that's happened to you when you feel the disgust and the repugnant disgust. Not just, oh, it's my ex and we broke up and that's Billy and we're still cool, but like it just didn't work. You will have those exes, and I think those exes are so important to your emotional ecosystem because you need something to compare it against. And then you will have exes that you can't stand, that you could be standing in the kitchen making a can of tuna and you're cussing them out for no reason. They're nowhere around. But you're just like this, and that's because they're pulling on your energy. You may think, am I going crazy? It's been a year. It's been 2 years. You're not obsessed with them. I need to course correct that. We're going to flip it and reverse it. They are obsessed with you. They're pulling on your energy. They miss you. I've had all kinds of things happen in my, dislodged connections, that people were, sad because I was gone. They were depressed. They were not, taking care of themselves hygienically, like just the basics of the day-to-day. Now, we all have gone through a depression or 2 or 3, 17 for me. Because that's one of the things. I struggle with mental illness like so many of us here do. And so depression is one of the ways. And I can check out seasonal for me specifically. So towards the end of the year and sometimes in spring, it's like all bets are off. Good luck if I'm crawling out of anything, okay? So I get it, so I empathize and I get that. But when you feel like you might be, here's how you know that you're maybe being spiritually attacked by an ex-lover that's like, oh no, sacre bleu, they're moving on. You may start to feel some of those things, and let's say you don't struggle with seasonal depression like me, or you don't struggle with depression, period, like some people do. You may struggle to do basic things, and that's because whomever your ex-lover is struggling too. They may be diving into addiction. They may be self-medicating. They may be laying in bed all day or whatever they can do. They may be disheveled. And if you're not a disheveled kind of girlier guy, then that's not your energy. But it's hard to understand that because we are taught from the age of 5 or 6 to forget about the spirit realm, and that you can see Uncle Sam standing over there who died 7 years ago. I never forgot about that. I never unlearned that. The veil is not only thin, it doesn't exist for me. The spirit world and I co-create and exist together every day. So I don't just see it for myself. I see it in my client stories. I see it in my friend stories. I know how this works because I watch it and I teach it and I'm working through it on a regular basis. People are sending you energy. And I've had people corroborate the stories, like, oh, I couldn't get out of bed for 3 days. And then, you know, my mother-in-law called me, my ex-mother-in-law, and was like, oh my gosh, you know, Jordan's been in bed for the last 3 days. He's so depressed about you. And then we make the correlation. So this is like, you know, empirical evidence and proof over years and years of doing this work. This is the truth, guys. You need to know, and you need to salt, and you need to clear and cleanse and bathe yourself again and again in the waters of Minnetonka, and mostly with salt, okay? Because people will try to stay tethered to you and connected, and they'll want to pull on your energy. And again, even if they don't know an Orisha, they never went into a Botanica, they never lit a candle, they're pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling. And you're like, why don't I feel free? Or how come I can't date? Or how come this? Or how come that? Or how come I feel depressed when I really shouldn't be? Or I don't deal with seasonal depression. Or I'm not bipolar. Or I'm not whatever. Any kind of under the umbrella of mental illness that you deal with. It's because someone did work on you. Or they were thinking repeatedly about manifesting you back. Or about you not seeing happiness to some degree. Now listen, the last thing that I want to do is sit here and make any one of you paranoid, okay? When I got into this work, I would see so many karmic readers that everything was like fire and brimstone and screaming. And there is a time when you extricate yourself from the relationship that you're in, that you will feel some of that, right? Where you will feel indignant and angry and pissed and shocked and disappointed. And you might need a reader like that, because she might feel like a big sis, or he might feel like a big bro who's kind of like standing behind you when the bully's in front, right? But that should pass in about 3 to 4 months. That feeling. I still watch readers. I still have my favorite readers. I still enjoy my readings when I'm dispatched to. I've narrowed it down a great bit to like literally three that I really like pay attention to, because they're not always talking about love, thankfully, because I'm out of that stage of like wondering about love. Also, that's another form of work. If you're repeatedly doing love readings on somebody, that's another form of work, if that makes sense. I will tell you, in the beginning of disconnections from any major thing, like the last person that I watched a love reading about was my twin flame, because I was kind of figuring all that out. That was years and years and years and years and years ago, okay? I've had other soulmate people I've dated and other people in my life and all that stuff, but it was just never that serious, okay? Usually your toxic twin will catapult you into your, metaphysical journey. I was in my metaphysical journey before her. It just deepened with her, and really learning how this all connects and works. So I learned about people doing and sending spiritual work. Ironically, I learned a great deal because of what she sent to me, and how she did not want to see me happy, and how she was so upset because she woke up to our connection after me. And so then she was sending me, I mean, she woke up during me and was talking about we're twins, and you know, she was watching Grey's Anatomy and talking about, oh, you're my person and all this bullshit. But here's the thing, y'all, she wasn't acting on it. So what happens usually in any of these dynamics with runner, chaser, karmic, divine, masculine, feminine, all that, is that one person wakes up and understands what's going on, the other person's in denial, they start running, you start chasing, then you stop chasing, and you just let them do their own thing, and then they're like, wait, where are you going? And then now they want you back. And that's when the spirit work, or the kind of the toxic low vibrational work begins, when they're like trying to stop you having any other connection, because now they're awake all of a sudden, which is completely not fair. That they were like, you just stay there and wait for me to catch up to you. That's BS. That twin flame thing is for the birds. Really release it. What you will notice in your twin flame, what I've done is I've tried to up level the understanding of it. This is not about me and her ever seeing each other again or ever talking again. I never want to see her again in my life. She also was doing work. Now I understand that. And it's also clear to me. But what I have had to do is disseminate the lessons of it. And maybe this is a message for some of you here. If you had a twin flame, you guys will go through the same kind of situations, the same things, just maybe at a little bit different times. And so she and I both had a parallel experience of two blonde people that came into our lives that were very controlling and very bombastic and very much swept us both off of our feet. You know, it's so funny. In the disembarkation of it, she was accusing me of all kinds of things that I wasn't doing because she was doing them. Hashtag projection. Usually the cheater is the one saying you're cheating, but I wasn't. But I did. I mean, I didn't care anymore. I wasn't like invested, but I did say, it turns out we both like blondes. You know, I was just kind of like fucking with her because I was like, I know what you've been doing, but I'm not doing it, but you'll think I'm doing it. So think whatever you want to. But we both had a parallel experience with the same kind of energies. You know, when I think about it, those energies were very similar. Mine was a little bit more classy, I'm just gonna say. She liked it a little more trashy. You know that song, I like my women just a little on the trashy side. So I up leveled, and she down leveled because that was her more her taste, more her style, and she had a blast. And so did I, to a certain degree, but we had parallel experiences with blonde energies. Let's just say that. But we were not in each other's lives at all. Sometimes you will have to separate from your twin, and most of the times, all the times, so that you both can kind of go do your own thing. A lot of people are like holding on, like, are we going to come back together? I'm not holding on for one more day, Wilson Phillips. I don't give a damn. Never, ever in my life do I need to see that person again. She is unalived energetically to me, deceased. So I'm very okay with that. But I picked out so many amazing lessons from the parallel mirrored experience that we were having about our autonomy, coming of age, understanding things, kind of falling. You know, mine was a platonic friendship, hers was not, but falling for people that were these, you know, very, what's the word, you know, seemingly kind of like vivacious and, you know, pivotal energies in our life. All of that. That's what happens with a twin flame journey, really, is that you're supposed to kind of learn from each other. Your twin is probably your darker or lighter side. You decide who's who. In my connection, I think you can figure out who is who. But that doesn't mean you will not experience a dualistic nature of being on the other side. There have been things that have happened in the last several years of my life where I have stepped into her more diabolical ass shoes. Not to live completely the way that she did. I never go to the dregs and depravity that she did, but I definitely had to deal with my shadow for sure, and I understood what was happening because I learned from observing, and I realized, oh, I already watched this play out. Now, what am I going to do now that the choice is in my hands? So that's just a quick aside regarding your twin flames. You probably should leave it alone, but it is probably going to be ripe and rich for lessons for many years to come about how you manage relationship, about your predilections, your proclivities, your dark underbelly, your light, upper, beautiful angel wings, okay? And so that's what your twin flame journey will really bring. But beyond that, it might bring a bitter, contemptuous twin ex who's now awake, wide awake, I'm chilling Katy Perry, and now they realize that you were the dark horse, and they want to chase you down. Like, now they're like, oh my gosh, that was my person, and they're never happy with anybody else, and the karmics don't fulfill them or whatever. But that's their journey to go on, not yours. But the point of me even saying that is that's when they will begin to start sending the work where they're like, I don't want you to be with anybody, da-da-da-da. And that is evil eye energy, one. That's also spell work, not just, you know, abracadabra over the cauldron, light up the candle, light the sage in Palo Santo. Spell work is about speaking words. So all they have to do is just incantato repeatedly, your mind, you belong to me, where you going, da 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 da. Now, I have had exes spin and have a similar sentiments as well, where they are saying these kind of things. Because it's a thing that you'll feel. It's a knee-jerk reaction if you feel rejected or someone breaks up with you, even if they don't mean it deeply and they're not incantating over you for the rest of your life. But I've had exes be like, where you going? That's mine. And what you doing? And no one's loving you like me, and we belong together, and oh, you got new friends now. Who you think you fancy? And da da da. Like, that's normal behavior of people. You know, we're all kind of toxic. One of my favorite lines is from Young M.A. She said, broke up with my old girl, and she was toxic. Got a new girl, she toxic. Looks like I be toxic. I said, you know, no lies. No lies were told. Apparently, I'm a tiny toxic bit too. A tiny bit toxic too. More than a tiny bit. I'm working through it every day. But my point is this, is that we all can be toxic to a certain degree, and some of our twin flame journeys would teach you that. But what we don't do, and what I didn't do, was incantate. That's one level of toxicity I don't ever go to. You belong to me, no one's gonna love you after me, da da da. Now I know how well I treat people, and empaths, you know, I teach you that here. Please revere your treatment and your love and your kindness that you extend to people. But I don't think no one's ever gonna date after me. That's insane to me. In fact, most of the time when I break up with people, I'm usually waiting till I can feel the third party so that they're going to be okay, because I know what kind of devastation to the emotional nation is happening when they realize that I'm never talking to them again. They're going to feel away. So I actually like for them to have a little safety net, a little piece of a karmic. That's my stimulus package. That's my my ex stimulus package, you know. That first soulmate that I was talking about that I dated was like, he was a prolific cad and a dandy and had all the women, all of them, and was married like 5 or 6 times. And he always said when he would leave his relationships, he always made sure they had a house or a car or something, like a parting gift. And so that was like a little toxic trait that he taught me, and I did adopt it. So emotionally, I make sure people have a parting gift of a little toxic, little karmic-y thing, or a little new friend group or whatever. You do you, boo. That's so good for you, because I don't care anymore. And I just want them to have someone to hold on to in a cold, cold night. So when the 808s of heartbreak really hit their heart, and then they start incantating, because what I don't want is for those incantations to be so strong that it starts to hinder my life to any degree, because people will send you all kinds of energy. You know, you hear people say, oh, they put beauty spells, or they were wishing that I was ugly and wishing that I was fat, and that's true. People are really toxic like that. Like, I remember my twin having broken up with a girl before anything, you know. We had a weird relationship, but she was seeing someone, and when she broke up with her, she would stalk her just to see if she gained weight. And they were both skinny, like, they were both skinny legends, but if that girl had gained like 10 pounds or 20 pounds, she was delighted. People are terrible, okay? Delighted that Tara had gained weight. So it was just so funny to me. But in any case, that is how people can be. So they will send you evil energy. In fact, I learned from my twin how evil people can be. I was like, I've seen her do this, and seen her actually like unapologetically do this. And then I would see clients struggling with this, and oh my gosh, they put this on me. And then that's when you have readers and spiritualists that can sometimes take advantage, which is not something I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you to pray. I'm going to tell you to salt. I'm going to tell you to pray over yourself. You don't need me to do a $7,000 spell. That's crazy, and that's a lie. The devil is a liar, okay? But unfortunately, when people feel vulnerable or attacked, they'll do anything. And that's why I want this information out here. You can take care of it yourself. Is it nice to have someone else pray for you or stand and hold the gap with you? Yes. Have I, in a breakup with someone that was rather insidious, reached out for professional help from spiritualists? Yes, I have. But not to, like, protect me from whatever, meaning like, don't make me a candle or anything. That's not what I was doing. I was getting real counseling. I was making sure that I was seeing correctly, because sometimes when we're too close to something, you can't see. I had a situation where I was really emotionally manipulated, and even though I had clocked it really accurately, there were so many mind games that towards the end I called in 2 specialists. Like, I literally reached out to a real shaman and a real like coach, and was like, okay, this is my situation, tell me what you see. And they're like, no, I see exactly what you see. Run. Run and set yourself free. So that's, I have definitely utilized professionals, because I am a professional and I get utilized this way. But I'm counseling you through it, getting out of the narcissistic relationship. But what you forget is that narcissists have this weird obsession, or what you may not know, with witchcraft and spellcraft and the left-hand magic, specifically in dark magic, because they like to think that they're more powerful than God. So if they have to betroth themselves to Beelzebub and Satan, they're like, say less. They just want the power up, and then they're sending you all kinds of nasty energy. I don't care how many candles they buy, or how many oils they buy, or how many fires they light. It's the energy that I'm worried about that's coming for you at night. It's hearing their thoughts or them telepathically sending you songs. My twin would do that in the beginning, and she'd be trying to talk to me, and I was like, girl, the time for talking is done. I tried to talk to you when I was in front of you, and you gave me your ass to kiss. So I'm not taking any telepathic messages. You have the right to shut that down. And I am so grateful to be here on these interwebs to be able to tell you it's a reality. Yes, you're getting telepathic music messages. Yes, you're seeing signs with your person's name on it. It's all happening. You're not losing your mind. You're not crazy. You're not, I don't care what your family or friends that are more vanilla say. You are really having this experience. They are sending that energy your way. There's a couple of cautionary things I will warn you with. If you're dreaming, do not eat anything that someone gives you in a dream. Do not walk into a door if you are dreaming. If someone's trying to walk you into a door, they're trying to get you to come into another portal so that they can have better access to your energy. And if someone tries to sleep with you in your dream, or you're sleeping with someone, even if it's not even your person or the ex-person or the whomever, that's a huge indication that spell work is being done on thee, okay? Huge indication. Sorry, guys. Literally the card that fell. That's a huge indication that spell work is being done on you. Those three things specifically are huge cautionary things. Don't eat if you can, help it, or drink in the dream. Think about Pan's Labyrinth and like that table of food where they're like, don't eat anything. Essentially that, but different. Do not walk through a doorway. Do not do it. The devil's a liar. And try to refuse the sexual energy. Okay, whatever it may be, whatever way you're stimulating the dream, try to refuse that, because especially if you're like directly, what's the word, in a fresh breakup with someone, or maybe it's been 6 months and you're like, okay, haven't heard a peep. I'm channeling Bjork. It's so quiet. It's so quiet. You haven't heard a peep. Then they will spring back up, because they always do. Narcs and exes and low vibe people will spin the block on you. They could have treated you like pure tea shit while they were in your face. They could have neglected you. They could have been playing mind games with you. They could have been ignoring you. But just like clockwork, just like the sun rises, they're going to be like, I'm so in love with you. Okay. And that, when they feel rejected, is when they will start to ramp the spell work up, the talking. That's when they're going to be talking shit about you to whomever will listen, or to themselves crazily in the night. When you're cussing them out over the can of tuna, it's because they're talking about you to themselves too. You get it? You see how all that works? So that's why I want you to protect yourself. Get some salt scrub, do a salt shower, do a salt bath, go to the ocean, clean yourself from head to toe, wash it out, release it, say, I cut these ties, do a cord cutting yourself. Get a piece of string and cut the cord. Say, I don't deal with this. I don't want this. Our cords are cut. Listen to cord cutting on YouTube. Listen to binaural beats. Listen to subliminals. Like, erase these people out your energy, because they do not want to see you be free. They don't want to see you be happy. And they don't want to see you be loved up on. And if they are going the extra mile to get a candle, to burn it, to do this, to do that, girl, you need to pray. But you can pray it away. And when I say pray it away, you can salt it away, you can scrub it away, you can reject it away, you can cord cut it away, okay? Where energy goes, our attention flows, right? So, I don't want you to be fixated on that, because that's what they want, is like a mutual obsession where you're just whatever. In the beginning, I'm human though, of the twin flame disconnection, when I would get the telepathic song messages. And here's how I want you to understand how that works. It's not to say that you're like, you guys might have a specific song and you might hear that. But let's say, like, what was one of the songs I heard? I Put a Spell on You. That was my angel's way of letting me know that she was literally like, you're mine. Do I think that she was thinking about that song specifically? No. That's not exactly how this works. But your angels will make the song come through that is most in alignment with the emotions and the feelings that they're having of you. Your twin may never even heard the song you hear, but it is sent to you so that you can be their ears. They want you to hear what they're feeling. That's the best way I can describe that. I've never really heard anybody talk about that on the interwebs, but that's how that works more accurately from the downloads that I received. That doesn't mean that you couldn't get the exact song. Let's say Golden Hour was your song. Then you get Golden Hour. They're giving Golden Hour because they're thinking about you. Or maybe it's, oh Lord, the one that would come through all the time was Talking to the Moon. The one where Bruno Mars is like, I want you back, but it was like the slow reverb. Lord Jesus, Lord, Lord, Lord. So do I think that she was thinking of that song and sending that? Maybe she could have been. There was like Stevie Nicks. That was something where I would know. That was a direct thing. If she heard that, she was thinking of some of our time spent together and whatever. Sade. You get it? There are some things that are specific, and then there are other things where it is the essence and the notion. Like if you read the lyrics and whatever. And at first, I was caught up in the rapture. Not of love, but of weird, like what's the word? I was disembodied. It was such a strange feeling not to be in communication, of which I initiated the no communication and no contact, because I was like, I'm not doing this with you anymore. I'm sick of this. This is bullshit. I'm not being on the roller coaster anymore. And so that communication, at first, you're like, oh, there's something. But then as I evolved, I got sick of it. I got over it. And it only took me a couple months. I wanted none of it. I was like, no. I would literally say out loud, no. I interrupted the energy. I clap. Clapping is a way to disrupt it. You can ring a bell. I have all kinds of bells. What do I have here on my desk? I have a sacral bell. Right now. That's the D note for good sexy time. But anyway, I have all kinds of bells. But I'd ring a bell. I'd be like, no. I would not do it. I wasn't looking up lyrics anymore. I wasn't like paying attention to be like, what's the message she's sending me? I didn't give a fuck. I was over it. And you'll get to that point, and that's when I stopped allowing her energy in. So don't get played. Sometimes I'd be sitting at dinner sometimes. I remember sitting at dinner with this new person that I just loved, and we were at dinner with some of her family, some other people, and it was such a beautiful dinner. And this was just a friend. She was just, oh baby, she was truly just a friend. But what was playing as I'm having this beautiful, like, French dinner, it was stateside, but we were in, like, a Parisian restaurant, and then a Sade song came on, a very specific Sade song that we had Sade to, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, are you kidding me? And then right afterwards, I saw a spider. That I do shamanistic work, so I'm reading all the colors of the wind and the insects too. So I knew, and the person I was with, though a platonic friend, saw the spider as well, or saw another one and was like, yeah, I know, she's like sending a lot of messages, because I was very candid and open, like, hey, I know we're moving forward with our happy relationship, but heads up, 7-Up, I got a crazy ex who's exing right now, and I was getting a lot of spider drama and whatever, okay? So your exes can communicate with you that way. I am spiritual, so that portal is more open for me. Maybe you're not going to get all that, but I got it, and other people could see it happening too. It wasn't just me being like, I'm keeping love alive. Like, why in a Parisian restaurant? They were playing all this other, like, all that stuff, and then it's just some straight up Sade. Specifically the song we Sade to. Come on, you know what I'm saying. That's how these people try to get up under your skin, okay? So that's the spell work of it all, is they are like, don't forget about me. Don't you forget about me. And the thing is, you don't really forget about people that you loved or dated or cared about or thought you were going to be with. But what I really like for you to do is transmute it into a lesson. And I always say this, if I start fantasizing about teaching about our experience more than living it with you, I'm over you. It doesn't matter who you are. If I think you're a better lesson to the collective than you are a private thing to be incubated, a delicious thing to be enjoyed quietly, then I'm never coming back. Because I will never bring something here to the collective. First of all, I always talk to these people about what's the reality of it. I always tell them too, you know, I'm a teacher, so I'm going to teach about this too. Right? You know that. Disclaimer, message, don't date Taylor Swift or Kendrick if you stop playing with me before I turn you to a song. That part. So the thing about it is people get very frustrated because they're like, I don't want you to talk about this. Well, you should have treated me differently. You know what I mean? Like, what's the story that you can tell about me? I loved you. I showed up. I loved you. I was fair with you, honest with you. I tried to talk to you till I was blue and green and purple in the face and you acted crazy. That's the story you can tell about me. The story I can tell about you is a different one because that's a different thing that you did. So people remember that. To the victor go the spoils. Whoever is going to be the teller of the story is going to tell it. I'm sure they tell their own story too. The thing is, I really like my story to be colored with the truth. Not everybody that you break up with will want that. They may spirit campaign you and whatever the case may be. But it doesn't stop you from using your throat chakra and telling a story. A lot of those narcissists and toxic people, whatever they may be, even if they're not an arc, like to silence you. They want you quiet. They do not want you communicating about the fuckery that they love to do to you. They do not want that master drop. They do not want the community to see that. They want you to shut the fuck up, okay? So if you feel like you can't get out of bed and you don't want to wash your hands or your butt, you don't want to wash your hair, you don't want to like cook real food for yourself, you don't want to go for a walk, you don't want to do your laundry, I would like for you to clear your ear, clap your hands, take a salt bath, take a salt. If you can only just wash your hands so you can crawl into that shower, get up, move energy, go for a little bit of a walk, twist around in your seat, do something, because someone is probably sending some energy to you, especially if you know you have a recent ex and they're doing a little spell work on you, and that just means they're trying to send you a verbal hex. I hate that bitch. I hope she never da. Who's that bitch think? I got a lot of this fat bitch this. Like, I remember having like a craving for something that specifically me and this XXX would make, and I was watching a reading, and randomly the reading, someone was like, someone is wanting someone to go eat blah 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 blah. They said the specific food, and they're trying to fatten you up, honey. They said something like that. Now y'all know I'm plus size. I've been dealing with my weight all my life. I've been dealing with my weight like this. But the point is, did I think that's the same one that I was telling you about that was happy that old girl Tara had gained the 15 pounds? So I knew that she would definitely be like, oh, you fat bitch? Absolutely. I want you to eat this. That's what I mean by spell work. Would she wish unwell on me? Absolutely. Happily and immediately. Did I ever wish that in return to her? No. I just wish she would stop. I wanted her to be happy. I literally told her, go be happy with this karmic person that you chose. Love up on them and keep them and squeeze them and keep them forever. I wanted out of that demolition hell endeavor that we were on. Highway to hell. I wanted no parts. We were in the Thunderdome of bullshit. I wanted no more parts of it. But I didn't wish her unwell. I wasn't like, I hope you're ugly and I hope you always smell and I hope your hair is greasy. Like, I was like, be beautiful, be radiant, knock them dead, sleep with everybody. I love that for you. But we are more gracious, empaths, okay? Because we have other work to do and other people to intersect and other soulmates to meet. It's a delightful place to be on this side of happy. The people, when they realize they've lost us, are not on this side of happy. They're in misery because they know they can never get us back. Now they're like, oh, she thinks she's too good. It's a lot of stories they start to tell themselves when really the story was, you disrespected me, you acted the fuck up, and you did it repeatedly and played in my face and thought I wasn't going anywhere, and now you feel disgraced, and now you feel resentful. And that's when they will start to send you the spell work, whatever it may be, whether it's from a candle, a bodega, a botanica, an orisha, or they steal it from Walmart for free because they're a kleptomaniac. That was my twin. And they're just like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to lady like this up and send incantations of negativity to you. Cover yourself and be protected. You're protected. Protect yourself with whatever you want. To the blood of Jesus, the salt of the earth, the motherland of Africa, whatever you want to. But just say, I rebuke this and I will transmute it. What I would recommend you don't do is send it back. You know, there's a lot of return to senders. Why would you want someone who is unhinged and crazy to have that energy of toxicity? I don't return to sender. I absorb it. Oh, you want it to come into me? And well, it will come into me and through me and out of me. It'll come out of me as creativity, a little poem or a ditty about your bullshit. It'll be something that I paint and that I create and I make art out of it. It'll be something that I think about or write and I transmute. It'll be a lesson that I teach to the collective and to the youth. That's what I do when they send those energy balls of hate and ugly and this and that and eat the donut, bitch, eat the box Keiko, whatever, whatever it is that they want me to do so that I can be down bad like them too. I just absorb that energy into me like a magical Power Ranger because I have spiritual work to do. Ain't nobody got time to be down bad behind someone's candle lighting and their spiritual spell work and hexing because they're sad because they were diabolical and ungrateful. Period. Okay? So I hope that's a lighter take on spiritual energy that's being sent your way instead of it being like, oh, the karma is trying. And on the third day, they were arguing about who gives a a fuck? For those of you that are in the psychosis of the immediate breakup, you will break out of it. I promise you, sis. You will not want to watch every single reading that ever came up infinitesimally. I sure did for 2 solid months. And then I said, why am I torturing myself? I don't give a fuck what they're arguing about. I don't give a fuck if they fucking. I don't give a fuck if they like each other or not. And I don't give a fuck if I ever see this person again. And that's when really the spell was broken and I was free. When I didn't care what they thought about me or what song she was sending me or what telepathic messages she was sending me or if we were going to reconcile on the twin flame journey. Fuck her forever, actually. And I went on to live my life beautifully. And there were far more other new people that had their own levels of fuckery and their own levels of delightful energy for me. There's a life for you to live. Do not get stuck in the quagmire of whatever your twin flame journey was. It's toxic. It was just a catalyst to get you to your spirituality, learn the lesson, extract the little beautiful morsels when you can about the mirrored energy and experiences, and then set yourself free. And if you feel them sending you energy, take a salt bath, take a cleanse, take a walk, clap your hands, ring a bell, clear the energy, and say, this doesn't belong to me. I won't return it to sender. I'll transmute it beautifully. Come on, beautifully. Come on, angels. Come on, my beautiful collective. Transmute it beautifully. They hate to see it. And guess what? Unfortunately, yes, they're probably still watching that part. Love you guys so much. Come back and join me next time. We'll continue to evolve together.